Yes, I'll have a knuckle sandwich. Yes, I'll have a knuckle sandwich.
Hello, welcome to Knuckle Sandwich MMA. We are back. This is my co-host Alex,
Well, thank you. Go ahead.
and we're here to break down the Paris UFC Fight Night.
And just to step back from last week, we introduced our new logo, and it was 100% on the logo that you guys saw last week, which will be on down below. It was 100% on that logo. So I had two different logos to choose from when we put the voting out there, and that was 100%. So it's the right one. There you go. Anyway, we're glad to have our branding, and it was a great card. And you know what? I'm not going to do I don't want to do the walk of shame because I lost as many as probably you have. I was picking fights, and man, it was a fantastic card though, and especially you can't go to sleep. Yeah, you can't go to sleep. But we'll talk about that card in a little bit. I want to get to this upcoming fight night card because it is the very first time that the UFC will be fighting or putting on a show in France, in Paris. Okay, I think it's Paris, France. Yeah, Paris.
Yeah,
so they're going to be in France. This is the first time, so it's a big deal. You know how Nando, the UFC's going global. They're going everywhere that will work with them and that they can get in and do all that kind of stuff. And they want to be on every continent and every country pretty much in the world, and France is another one that they can tick off the old wish list there. What do you think about that location, Nando?
I think it's a good location. There's a lot of fighters from France and in that area, and they're gonna highlight a lot of those fighters in this fight card. And I think it's one of those places that I was surprised that they didn't get to earlier.
Yeah, and that surprised me too. But I think the biggest issue, as far as listening to the president of the UFC say, it was all the pandemic stuff. All the qualifications that you have to have. You be vaccinated, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's what was keeping them out of a lot of these other countries, and France was one of them for sure. But I do want to go over this card because they do have a lot of French fighters, which you should do when you're going into a new country. Have a
Yeah,
lot of the people that are from that country representing, and so that's the best way to build fresh eyeballs, new fans, and this just the correct way to do it. So this one is UFC Fight Night, Gane versus Tuivasa. And I'm going to start off with the prelims, and then we're going to let Nando drive the main card, and we'll go from there. We might be expecting some surprise guests. We don't know, but we'll see. Okay, if they show up, perfect. It's going to be awesome. If they don't, me and Nando will take the ship home. Okay, so Nando, the first one on the prelims I've got is Nasruddin Imavov versus Joaquin Buckley. And Imavov is favored by a minus 260 over Joaquin Buckley. And I believe, let's see, I know Buckley, they're both coming off of wins.
yes.
The stats, Imavov is taller by 5 inches, but Buckley has a longer reach by an inch. And so this should be for an interesting fight. Imavov is 11-3-0, and Buckley is 15-4-0. And he's been looking really good. So has Imavov. I've seen both of them fight. And Imavov, he kind of looks timid, but he doesn't quit, man. He just doesn't quit. He moves forward, and he's one of those guys. And Buckley, he moves forward too. So I see this as being in the center of the ring, and I think it's going to be a really, really good, exciting fight. Your thoughts?
I think Joaquin Buckley he's from Bellator. He's been in the UFC. He's a very talented and athletic guy. And I think Imavov has great hands, great wrestling. I was watching him and his wrestling was awesome. So I think that Joaquin Buckley is going to squeak this out because he's not ranked yet. Imavov's ranked 12th right now. So this is a perfect fight to get him into the ranking.
Okay,
And I think,
and that's a good point right there too.
yeah, I think this is the perfect, because you have someone right on the cusp of the ranking. I mean, it starts at 15. He's right there, and Joaquin Buckley, that's what he wants. He doesn't want to go into like a 7 or 8 or a 9. Sometimes they try to get their monies out of them. I like when they start them right in that 13, 14, and then move them the next fight to like a 10 or 9, and slowly move them.
Well, and that's apparently what they're looking at doing. So, you know, it's Imamov's fight to lose basically, because he's not fighting a ranked opponent. So it's going to be interesting. But also because of how Joaquin Buckley's been looking, it's still be a feather in his cap, but because he's won, I don't know how many in a row, but he's been looking really, really good lately.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next one is Benoit Saint Denis. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing these French names correctly, but I'm doing the best I can there. And then he's going against Gabriel Miranda, and that's Gabriel's debut fight. So there's not any stats on him.
I can't find anything on him either.
Yeah, normally when you find a silhouette of a fighter, they don't even have a picture of him. Okay, he's new. But he wouldn't be in the UFC if he didn't have some skills. So we're going to go with that. As far as Benoit, he's 9-1-0 with 1 no contest. Last fight was a win. He's 5'11", 155 pounds, 73-inch reach advantage or reach, and 40-inch leg reach. So I'm not going to say much about that because I don't have much to say as far as finding somebody who's debuting. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move up the ladder, as we always do in all of our podcasts, guys. We mention every single fighter on the roster for that card because we want to give everybody the props that they deserve. Next up is we have Zara Farin versus Aileen Perez, and it looks like we have another debut because Aileen has no stats either. Zara is. Go ahead. Did you find something?
She's 7-1. She's 4-5, and this is her debut.
Okay, where's she from?
I don't know. I didn't see that part. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. At least you got some numbers on her. That's great, because the silhouette that they have on the website is a dude. Come on, man. Anyway, so you have Zara. She's 6'4". She's from France, 5'8", 147 pounds, 72-inch reach, and 42-inch leg reach. And I've seen her fight before. I don't know, because it's a debut. There's nothing to compare her to, so I'm not going to say anything there. But we like debuts because they're always surprises. You got people that debut; they come out to make a statement, and sometimes they shoot them too far up the rankings because of a big statement. So there we go, guys. Now we're going to move to the main card, and we're going to let Nando drive this one, and let's talk about it because there's so many good fights on this card.
Yes. Okay, this fight is Charles Jourdain, 26, versus Nathaniel Wood, that's 29. Now, Charles Jourdain is 3-5. He has a loss against Shane Burgos, and he's razor fast kicks. Like his kicks and the way that he does it is very, very good. I mean, he stands, boom, and it's like lightning fast. And Nathaniel's a great grappler. He has that wrestling. So they're going to try to nullify each other. But I think, the Jourdain looks taller. I don't know if he's exactly taller, but
he is 3 inches taller.
Yeah, and I like that they do those matchups where it's wrestler versus striker because everybody says wrestler will win, but that doesn't always happen. It depends on the striker. It depends on the style. It depends on the movement. Some wrestlers just want to go in there and take you down, and they leave themselves open a lot of times.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to pick a little fight, not with you, Nando, but with Jourdain's last fight. I believe, and this is my personal opinion, you guys, I believe he won that fight. And I think they gave Burgos like a unanimous decision. I was like, what? There's no way. But I believe that Jourdain
Was
won
that
the
the
fight.
last fight that was on Burgos' contract?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah,
but
and then they got rid of Burgos.
yeah. Well, he decided to go. They gave him more money elsewhere. I think PFL. But
PFL.
here's the thing: he was fighting in his backyard in New York, and I believe that's I don't want to say it was a robbery, but I do believe that Jourdain won it via split decision at best, or at worst, I should say. I think he just won that fight. Period. So there you go. And I want to make a comment on Nathaniel Wood. That dude is a machine, man. I don't think I've ever seen him gas. They're both got great cardio, fantastic cardio. And I agree with your analysis, Daniel, that it's going to be a really good fight. Styles make fights, and we always say that. And it's, you can say it's cliche, but it really isn't, because styles make fights. And
Yeah.
who's going to impose their will? If, as I always say, if Jourdain keeps moving around, he's going to win this fight, because he will piece up Nathaniel Wood. But if Nathaniel could corral him, get him up against the fence, his grappling is as good as his wrestling. And Jourdain's no slouch either, but he does have an advantage on the ground. So if it's on the feet, Jourdain. If it's on the ground, I'm going with Wood.
Yes, I agree with that. I think Wood's gonna need to do like some Chandler and just be aggressive right out the gate, throw some punches, put himself in the fire, and then take him right down.
Yep, and
And rinse and repeat.
That's a good game plan. I would, if I was a coach, I would say the same thing. All right, what do we got next?
Okay, the next one is Taylor Lapalus versus Kahid Taha. Kahid is 30. He's 13-4. He's 1 of 5. He's short and stocky. He has nice head movement. Now the other guy, Taylor, is 5 of 5. He's he has like a Phil Davis kind of style. He's long, he's lanky. He kind of like telegraphs it, but it's kind of like a pitcher that does like a changeup. Like he throws it, and sometimes it comes fast, sometimes it comes slow, and they cannot they cannot calculate it. It's kind of like, if I'm gonna come at you like this, but I'm gonna come under. And that's great in boxing, and that's great in striking. Is someone that's not traditional, like that unorthodox swinging style, works for a lot of fighters like Phil Davis. And I like that he's long and lanky, and he's gonna pick him up. He's gonna try to wrestle him. All right, on to you. What do you think about this?
No, that's a good breakdown. As far as Taha, I've seen him fight, and he's a pretty tough guy too. These guys, both of them, have great cardio. But you're right. Taylor does have a 5-inch reach advantage over Taha, and and he's also got a 5-inch leg reach advantage. So Taha's going to have to get in tight and see. But I haven't seen enough of either one of them as far as our ground games go to see what happens, if this is going to be a stand-up fight or if Taha's going to try and take it to the ground. It's definitely going to be to the advantage of Taylor to keep this on the feet and piece up Khalid. But we'll see. So that one, man, I'm just gonna throw out a guess. I'm gonna go with Taylor based on your analysis, Nando, because I think if he can keep it on the feet again, I'm not sure about the ground game. So I'm gonna go with Taylor because that's kind of where I think it's gonna happen. It's gonna be on the feet.
Yeah, I agree. Now the next fight is John Madesi versus Nassarat
Haparas.
Paparas.
Uh-huh.
He's 27. He's 205. He lost to Hooker, Bobby Green, Drew Dober. He's 5'10". He's from TriStar. He has very much, if you remember this fighter, David Loazo, like a David Loazo kind of taekwondo style. And TriStar is like slowly like under the radar right now, but I think they have some fighters that are gonna come up. And and then John Medesi's 37, he's 405, all decisions. And then I watched this video where they was basically breaking down him against taller fighters. And it was showing his style. And that's usually not someone, if you're fighting a taller fighter, that's usually not your advantage. But he's figured out ways, and that doesn't mean every taller fighter he can beat, but he's figured out ways to bridge the gap. Certain things he does benefit smaller fighters against taller fighters, and it was really interesting. So I don't know if that's gonna do well for him. There's a 10-year age gap. John Medesi's on the back nine, but I'm gonna go with John Medesi. I think he's gonna pull this out.
Okay, that's a good point. So now one thing that I do know about his style, McDessie's style, is when he goes in to get in close because of his shorter reach and shorter stature. One thing that I noticed that he keeps a hand up like this, because a lot of times there's danger when you go in like this, right? Getting a knee or getting uppercutted, right, like this. But if you'll notice, if you watch him, he'll do this or this, and he kind of parries those shots off a little bit so that he can get in close. He does hit hard. Okay, he's got some hard strikes. He's really tough. But as you mentioned, he is quite a bit older, and I think he keeps his hair short because it's like mine. It's all salt and pepper. You know what I mean?
You think so?
I'm not lying, man. But when I look at Nasrat, he came off a loss, but he's fought some really tough guys, and he's proven to be quite tough himself. He can take the shot, and he moves forward. I don't know that he moves back at all. He might a little bit, depending, but he's usually a forward moving guy. And I think, but he's fast too. And so I think I'm going to go with Nasrat on this one, because I think he's going to catch McDessie. If he's trying to come in to close that gap, I think he's going to catch him. So I'm going to go with Nasrat with a TKO second round.
Second round. Okay. All right, we'll see. Now the next fight is Alessio de Circo. He's 1 of 5. He has a win over Buckley, and that's really one of the losses Buckley has. And then Roman Kopylov is 31. This guy's 8 of 2. He's 3 of 5. This guy, I'm telling you right now, this guy's gonna be the next big thing. I think I like his style. It's very like Fedor, where he just comes with these overhand shots, and then he comes right down the middle. And I think this guy's gonna be a big deal. He might. I mean, it might be just a poof, but I think this guy's gonna be a good fighter. I like that Fedor style where he's not scared to go to the ground, and he's gonna take every shot I've seen is with bad intentions. So I think this guy's gonna take it out in maybe the second round.
All right. Ooh, look, now you're picking rounds. I see what's happening here.
Yeah. Well, I this is one of the ones I'm very interested to see this guy fight. When I started seeing all his videos, it's like, this guy's gonna be, I mean, he might not be. He might be a Sage Northcutt, but sorry, Sage, we apologize. But I think he's gonna be, I'm telling you, I think it's gonna be a big deal.
Okay, well, let me give you my analysis of this fight. Alessio, really good fighter. I mean, if you beat Buckley, you're doing pretty good. Buckley's a strong guy. I think their reach is identical almost. Height is identical, so there's no advantage there. Kopylov, and I agree with you. He's a tough guy. He does need some wins. I think, what makes sense, Nando, and correct me if I'm wrong. If you lose a fight in the UFC, you really have to build a two or three fight winning streak to like be considered. Okay, this guy, it could be somebody, right? You just have to do that because it's like one step back, one step forward, two steps back if you lose, right? And and so, but both of these guys coming off a loss, okay, so they're both going to come out looking for the win big time, because if you have two losses in a row, then all of a sudden your back's against the cage or the proverbial wall, and it's like, okay, if the UFC doesn't like you and you lose 3, then you're gone pretty much, right?
Yes.
So, or if you're exciting, if you bring it. So I believe that this is going to be one of those fights that they're going to bring it, that they're going to go and they're going to leave it all in the cage, and one of them's going to come out victorious. And I'm going to go opposite of you once again because of your last picks last time.
Okay, I that's understandable.
See, you knew that was coming, didn't you? You knew it was coming. But I'm going to go with Alessio, just because I don't agree with your or disagree with your analysis at all. I think you're spot on. But I'm going to go with him because I think because they're both coming off of losses. They really have to prove something. So they're going to take more chances than they probably normally would, because it can't be just a split decision either. That doesn't wow anybody. It's got to be, they got to make a statement. So and then in this sport, anybody, as we saw from last week's card, anybody can get knocked the freak out. So that's why I'm gonna choose him, just because I want to spice up the pot a little bit, stir it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay, on to our co-main event: Robert Whitaker versus Marvin Vettori. Now, Marvin Vettori started training with King's MMA. I don't know if King's MMA is Rafael Cadero. He's Shogun, Anderson Silva, Wanderlei Silva, Verdum, Cyborg. He's one of the greatest. I think he started shoot boxing, but I'm not sure. And his wrestling coach is Mark Munoz. Now he's 405. Really, him and Whitaker, their only big losses is Israel. 2 for Whitaker, 1 for Vettori. So they're both trying to get back into that title picture. They're trying to get a chance at the title. And if I'm them, I'm hoping that Pereira wins, because I don't know if they'll give it to Robert Whitaker if Israel wins.
They won't. They can't.
He's got 2 losses.
Yeah.
First loss was awful. Wasn't a good. Second one wasn't good either. Vettori might have a chance to get another title. And that would be really interesting, because he got really weird when it came to the Israel fight. He was saying stuff like he was going to eat him and saying really weird. His trash talking, they need to work on that too. But I think this is going to be a good fight. I think they're ranked 1 and 2. Robert Whitaker's ranked number 1. So he's a number 1 contender, but they're not going to give him, I don't think he can go up. He's really not a big guy for that weight class.
Yeah, that's true.
And he came from the welterweight weight class. I'm not sure exactly who he lost to, but that's why he went up to middleweight. So Vettori, I mean, they both have really good wrestling. They really good hands. I would say Robert Whitaker's hands is better. His striking's better, but not by a lot. It's going to be a decision. And I'll let you say before I say.
Okay. All right. So here's my analysis of it. First of all, Adesanya lives in Whitaker's head. I mean, I can't see him getting that third fight. However, Adesanya still has to get past Pereira. And if Pereira wins, then all bets are off the table. So that's why Whitaker needs to win. he's hoping that Pereira will beat Adesanya, because then he's got a fresh start and he can get that title shot again, being #1. If Adesanya wins, he's not getting it, because nobody wants to see a third fight, because like you said, the first two weren't that exciting. Adesanya seemed to shut Whitaker down, and mentally, and I just don't see a third fight there. It doesn't make any sense to me, because it wasn't close. Vettori, he's got a lot to prove. He wants that title, and he's been putting in the work for it. They all put in the work, but he's been putting in the work. And yes, could he fight Adesanya again for the title? Yes, he could, because he lost to him once. But again, if he loses to him again, then he's not going to see the light of day until the championship changes hands somewhere. But I do believe, man, it's hard to pick against Whitaker, but I'm gonna go with Vettori, because I think that Vettori, this is what he's thinking. What we just said, Whitaker, if he wins, he's not going to fight for the title again. Okay, unless Pereira wins. But I can still fight for that title regardless of who wins over there. So that's a bigger drive for me to win this fight. And this is their first time meeting, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So
they were supposed to fight one time before, but it got postponed.
I agree with you that Whitaker is faster, but I think Vettori is stronger, and I think that he's going to impose his will and push him against the cage and close that distance so that he doesn't have that advantage in striking. And I think that's where he's going to beat him. I don't know how he's going to beat him, but I think probably by decision, Vettori.
Wow, that's good. I was Whitaker before, but now I'm thinking. I mean, you made really good points. I'm still gonna go with Whitaker. I think he's gonna win, and I don't think he's gonna get the title shot. I think he's just gonna kind of sit there like Rich Franklin and not, he's gonna have to figure out something. He's gonna have to, if he wins, he's gonna figure out a way to continue. Because just sitting there fighting off people and being like the top gatekeeper is only taking miles off of your. And if you can get a chance at a title in a different division, he might have a chance against Leon Edwards if Leon Edwards wins again.
Well, I think there's one way that Whitaker could get another title shot. If he goes out and closes the lights on Vettori in a spectacular fashion. That's the only way I think he can get another shot.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Vettori is hard. That big cranium he has, I don't think you're knocking him out.
Got a thick skull. So who are you picking?
I'm gonna go with Whitaker.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Tried.
All right, we'll see. So the main event, Ciryl Gane, 10-1. He only had a loss against Francis, and that was a bad showing for him. He's ranked #1 right now, and then Tai Tuivasa, which is ranked 3rd, which is surprising because he was ranked like 8th. He's 5 of 5. Before that, he lost 3 in a row. So he's on the up. They're trying to. I think they're putting him in the fire a little too fast. I would have liked to have seen him fight somebody else. This is like absolutely the worst matchup for him, I think. But he has a puncher's chance. He is not going to get knocked out. And if I'm him, I'm going forward. And I'm going to leave it all out there, and I'm going to try to win. He cannot try to win by points because he's not going to win by points against Ciryl.
Nope.
Ciryl Gane's gonna. I think Ciryl Gane's game plan is going to be to go to the body, slow him down, and then pick him apart. Which I don't think is gonna. I don't know. If I'm Tai Tuivasa, I'm going forward, and I'm going to try to knock him out. I'm going to pressure him. I'm not a great wrestler, but I'm just going to push him against the cage and put my body weight on him.
All right. Well, So you're going with Gane, right? Or have you picked Gane?
No, I'm going with Tai Tuivasa.
You're going tied to Tuivasa. Okay. So let me tell you, I'm going to go with Gane right off the bat, and I'll tell you why. Because one thing that he's got going for him is great footwork for a heavyweight. He's got fantastic footwork. He's fast. He's going to be faster than Tuivasa. You're right that Tuivasa does have a puncher's chance, but I don't think that Gane is going to be lured in to that phone booth fight where Tuivasa can get that knockout. He'll take some punches, but he's gonna deliver that one that's going to knock you out. But I don't think Gane is going to get trapped into that. I think he moves too much. He moves too well. He can come in and out and create a distance with ease as far as getting out of the range of that punch coming off of Tuivasa. And Tuivasa not being as fast as Gane, in my opinion, he's going to see those punches coming. The only one that he's not going to see coming is if he's in the clinch and that uppercut comes, or that side hook comes and catches him behind the ear or right here on the jaw. But I don't think Gane. I think they've been probably drilling that to stay away from him, and Gane is going to end up picking him apart, getting him tired, because we don't really know. I mean, I think they both have good cardio, but Gane has, I think, better cardio. Tuivasa is carrying a lot of weight on him, and I think if he starts grappling and if Gane can take his back, because he's a pretty good grappler. If he takes his back and puts his weight on him and just hangs on him like a wet blanket, I think he's going to tire him out. And then once he tires him out, I think Gane wins by a submission.
Submission?
Mm-hmm. He's going to get his back and he's going to choke him out.
I don't know about that. You think he's practicing on that because of what happened against Francis?
No, not at all. I'm just looking at the styles. I'm looking at the styles and I see Gane getting on his back and tiring him out, pushing him down to the ground, weighing on him, throwing some punches, softening him up, and then sneaking that arm underneath. That's what I think is going to happen.
Oh man, yeah, you're probably right. But I think Tai Tuivasa's got a chance, and if he wins.
If he wins, he's going to become a mega superstar.
Yeah, he's gonna be a mega superstar, but those are not good matchups. I mean, he's gonna get worse and worse matchups. He's gonna be the Cinderella boy. Yeah, I mean, he's gonna.
Wait! I got to do that. You just reminded me from Caddyshack.
Yeah, Cinderella boy.
It's a Cinderella boy with tears in his eyes.
Yeah, tears in his eyes. Yeah, I just don't. I don't know. I mean, if you go to that point, who do you? I mean, in those top three, I guess his best chance is Francis.
Yep. I think if Gane wins and he fights Francis again, I think he'll beat him this time. He's pretty smart. He's pretty knowledgeable as far as his IQ, his fight IQ. I think he'll make adjustments. But of course, so does Francis. So he's no slouch by any means.
Yeah.
But I think he submits to Tuivasa.
Yes, I'll have a knuckle sandwich. Yes, I'll have a knuckle sandwich.